Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about a Pelikan, and that is the M400 white tortoise or tortoise. I don't really know how to pronounce it. And it's this gorgeous Pelikan with a really nice like green-brown finish. And I'm going to show you what it looks like up close. I'm going to show you the nib. I'm going to give you a writing sample. And I'm going to tell you about the sizes that Pelikan has and how they differ. Especially the M200 and the M400, what are the differences there? So I'm gonna switch a shot, go for it, and show you this beauty of a pen. All right. Okay, I grabbed some other Pelikans to compare the white tortoise with, and that is a M200 and a M600. And the M200 and the M400 that are right here are the same size. There are some slight differences, such as the M400 has 2 rings near the piston knob and 2 rings on the cap band, the M400 has a gold nib and this is a steel nib. So those are like some of the differences. You can also see that the end of the cap on the 200 is white. It does still have the Pelikans on there. And on the M400, it has that gold top. Those are some of the differences between those two, but the size is the same, and the filling mechanism is the same. There's not a big difference in feel between those two. So the M200 and the M400, the feel is quite the same. The M600 is quite a bit bigger. It feels bigger. It is actually bigger, of course. The piston knob is bigger, the cap is longer. If you uncap them, the actual size difference is not that noticeable. Ooh, gotta keep them still. Not that noticeable, but the grip on the M600 is definitely thicker. What's also noticeable is that let me see if you can actually see that on screen. The nib on the M600 is a bigger nib. It's really hard to see, I think, but I guess you just gotta believe me. Nib is bigger. Both are gold nibs. Both are 14 karat. Let me see if I can get that on screen properly, but I can't. And they're both awesome, honestly. Both of these sizes are good for me. I like the thicker grip of the 600 quite a lot, but the 400 is a really nice light pen, so you can use it for a lot of longer writing sessions. So that is better for me. Heavy pens, I like them, but not for super long writing sessions. Anyway, I kind of love looking at these 3 pens next to each other. I love the white with the color combo, and then this finish is just, it's amazing, and that's why I got it. I think it'll be my last like serious pen purchase in a while. I bought it at Cult Pens for £195. I got a free pen case, don't have it here, but it's just a really boring black leather pen case. But yeah, Pelis, I really like Pelikans. Anyway, let's move on, because I want to talk about this pen, and in particular, the nib. I got this, I don't know if I can zoom in more. I got this with a broad nib. I have one other M400 nib. It is a nib that I bought separately. It's a medium and it's gorgeous. It's the wettest nib I own. It is one of the best writers. I use it for shimmer inks because I love it so much, and it's so wet that it can easily handle that. This nib, abroad, I've had this pen for a week, okay? It's had 2 inks in it, 2 different inks, and I've switched the nib to a vintage nib because I couldn't take it. This nib has baby's bottom. So on the downstrokes, it skips. I clean it again because I want to do fresh inking. I don't know the ink I'm going to use. I've never used it before, but it's a sailor ink, which is generally not a dry ink. And I hope it behaves better that way, but I'm kind of disappointed in the nib. This is a problem that has happened before with Pelikan, and especially in the 400s, and then the broad nibs are just can be iffy. But I've never had it this bad. Like, I would say this pen is not fun to use because the nib is, I would say it's just bad. Like, it's just a bad nib. But yeah, I have options. I can switch out the nib, like with that glorious medium nib that I have. But that's not really what you want on a pen that is about $250. So let's zoom out. I have a sample here I bought at Fountain Fader. I'll link them in the box down below. It's Sailor 741. And I kind of prefer Fountain Fader for my samples. Dutch stores aren't really big on samples, I feel, and Fountain Fader has like a really big selection, and they have basically all the sailors of the new series. So I'm gonna hope it goes well. Yeah, it's taking up ink, so I tilt the sample vial while I'm inking. It's not gonna be a full fill. And it's always messy, but I was inky already anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, this is a blue. It's not a, like, this Sailor ink series has a lot of interesting colors, like with dual tones and triple colors. This is not the most interesting one, but I like blue. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna step away for a second to clean off that section because it is blue. Downside of white pens. Anyway, I'll be right back. All right, time for a writing sample. I cleaned it up as much as I could. Ink does get into the threads of this pen and also of the other white pens. Like, it's one of the downsides of this type of finish, but it's still gorgeous. You can see how it is in my hand. It's quite, for me, it's quite large. Like, it sticks out quite a bunch. Pellies are very postable, and I don't mind posting it. It doesn't become top heavy. It's actually quite well balanced, but you don't need to post it. If you like a heavier pen, you could post it. That's my advice. Okay, okay, that's great. That's a great start. It's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna gently press it because I want it to write and not be a failure. But yeah, I've been frustrated with this nib, guys, and I'm sorry if that shows. It's a broad nib with a Sailor 741, which I kind of like. It's a bit of sheen. So, can I zoom in more? I don't think I can. But, so when a nib has baby's bottom, it's over polished, and it's like, I don't know if I can draw it properly, but it's like that instead of a flat surface with a slit. And it just, when a pen skips on the downstroke, you can assume that the pen is baby's bottom because the ink does not like hit the paper at the slit because there's that butt shape. And as you can see, I'm not like making this up. I'm not like doing something special. But it's honestly, it's so bad. Like, wanting to write, like every first stroke that goes from up to down, it's just not, it's not okay. I always have to like draw it back in. If you don't start like on that downstroke, it's not as bad. But I really need to have this nib worked on because I refuse to use it like this. In other news, this ink, I really like this ink. I'm assuming it's not like a dry ink. It sheens very nicely. But what is gonna happen with this pen is that I'm gonna switch the nib. And I'll show you, it's inked, so it's kind of a risky business kind of deal, but I'll do it for you. I'll be right back with the nib I'm gonna put in it and paper towels up the wazoo. All right, back with a different pen. For those of you interested, this is an M250, which is a vintage Pelikan that comes with a 14 karat gold nib. It's like the M200, but with a gold nib. And it's one of my favorite pens. It's a pen that I bought because I like the burgundy, and I'm just a sucker for vintage pens. It has I have shown this pen on camera before. It has a 14 karat broad nib sticker, but a medium nib, which is funny to me. So someone switched the nibs out. Okay, this nib is clean, so I'm just gonna use my fingers. Pelikan nibs are the whole feed and nib housing unit, you can just screw out. If you want to do work on the nib, you can also pull it out, like out of the housing. Beware when doing that especially on old pens, the feed is made of ebonite, and that is fragile. So don't do that willy-nilly. I did it with one pen because it did not write. The nib was so badly skewed on the feed that it didn't write. It just would tear the paper. So I was like, okay, this nib's not writing anyway, so I'm gonna risk it. But I would just not do it willy-nilly. Anyway, screwing it out. Super easy. Like, no questions asked. And then I forgot to grab a cup of water for the dirty nib, but I'll just put it on the paper. For this, I'm using a grippy, not because it's gonna be hard, but it's gonna be dirty, and I don't wanna like get my hands all dirty, even though they are already dirty. Okay, I'm just gonna like gently grab it at the nib, keep it up because there's ink in there. Toss it on the page, it's not that bad. And then nib unit, just put it in, screw it on. Now of course in this feed there is no ink right now, so I'm gonna let it like saturate a little bit, and I come back with a different writing sample that is not ass. All right, let's let it saturate and I'll be back. Okay, medium nib, vintage. I had to like make the flow happen a little bit. That's why I'm more inky. So I just pushed the piston up a little bit to get the ink into the feed, but now it is writing. So this is a medium nib. I would say it's not really super medium, but it does have like some actual flex. I'm gonna write down, hello, actual nice nib. It's way more fine than you would expect, but I don't care. I like it. And now it will be actually nice to write with, instead of that atrocious nib, that broad atrocity that I could not get to write. Look at all those stupid downstrokes that did not work. Let's do some downstrokes with this nib. Oh, it does not skip? Wow. Sorry for being so sarcastic, guys, but I'm really annoyed about that nib. Anyway, now it's gonna be a joy to write with. It's gonna be a joy to look at. It's gonna be good in both ways. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I couldn't deliver a solution for baby's bottom for you and for everyone. I know you can smooth it out on some like really fine, what is it called? I mean, it's just like a sandpaper. It's really fine. I can't come up with a name right now. But I'd rather have someone work on the nib so I can get it the way I want, like maybe a little stubby. But yeah, all in all, very pretty pen, and the nib was a disappointment. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.